Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am Sale, and this is the Team Liquid Legacy Star League Qualifier number 3. I'm feeling good. I'm rejuvenated after last weekend, and I'm ready for the last weekend of qualifiers. So a pretty short qualification period here for the second season, just 2 weekends. So today is qualifier number 3, tomorrow will be number 4, and that will be the last one, so last chance for any of you folks, you Brood or Gosus trying to qualify. Yeah, so I highly recommend signing up tomorrow if you are not already qualified, which will only apply to, I suppose, seeds from last season as well as the winners of from last weekend. So let's do a quick format overview again as usual. As you can see, 4 qualifiers giving us 12 players. The 4 winners of each qualifier will qualify directly. So that means last weekend we had Marwin from qualifier 1 and Julia from qualifier number 2 making it through. Oh, hope I didn't spoil that for anyone. Ah, well, too bad. Ha ha ha. Yes, and then they will be joined by 8 players qualifying on points. So everyone who doesn't win the qualifier, depending on how well you place, you get a certain amount of points. Like second place is 85, third, fourth is 60 points, etc. And then they'll be joined by the 12 seeds from the last season who finished or who got to the round of 16. So, yep, all good there. And that means we can go into the first game. So we're going to start off again with a couple of random games picked from the early rounds of the tournament, and then I'll do both semifinals and the finals. So our first match is going to be from the round of 64. It is going to be that most rare of matchups. A TVT. It will be between TerranBoy and Cryoc. Now, Cryoc has recently just like burst into the top levels of foreign competitive play. I mean, as recently as like 6 months ago, he was not really known at all. He was kind of like a decent-ish player, you know, like B-, BB- maybe, Terran player. But didn't really do anything notable. And then you know, he started owning it up, primarily in Gambit's Cup, where I think he's like 6-0 or 7-0 or something ridiculous. So even though he hasn't necessarily had like a super high ladder rank, he's been tearing it up in Gambit's Cup. And this, like, he hasn't even been getting easy matchups. He's been like DeWalt and Bakuryu and other really strong players. And Marwin I think he even beat in Gambit's Cup. Of course, Marwin qualifying last weekend. So yeah, Cryoc's pretty beast. TerranBoy, on the other hand, I don't know too much about him. I know he's played a few games in Gambit's Cup. I think for Team IFU, actually. This might actually be a team kill here. Hopefully someone can actually confirm that in the chat. But yeah, he's decent. I mean, he's good enough to play you know, on the A team in Gambit's Cup. So he can't be too bad. But otherwise, not too sure. There's going to be a TVT on match point, and I think we are ready to go. So here we go. Man, almost forgot I was supposed to start the game. Alright, at the bottom left as the orange Terran, we do have IFU.Cryoc. At the top right, as the teal Terran, we have a huge Flash fan, apparently. But I have been told that this is in fact TerranBoy. Awesome! Okay, I'll just believe the referee. Again, we are at match point. Now, this is actually going to be quite interesting because, you know, a lot of players, Zerg players in particular, think this map is pretty good for Terran. So clearly, with 2 Terrans on the map, the map imbalance becomes even worse, right? It's like super imbalanced. I don't know what Croc's doing, saying. What are you talking about? What happened? Did anything happen? Have I missed something already? Oh my god, it's only been like a minute into the game. Not even a minute, and I'm like missing things. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, pardon me, by the way. It's not a team kill. TerranBoy actually plays for SJ. It's my bad. My bad. So I was mistaken in that regard. Oh, he all tabs. Oh, he lag spiked it. Oh, TerranBoy. Look at this guy not even taking it seriously. All tabbing in the middle of the game. Are you Forella, dude? Are you Forella? Come on, this is TLS, man. Pay attention to the game. Oh, he's playing Clan League. He's playing another game at the same time. Oh my god, TerranBoy is so gosu that he actually has a second window of Broodor open at the same time. He's playing like in both of them at once. He's got like, they're both in window mode. He's like switching his mouse from one screen to the other really, really fast. Oh man, this guy, he's a true Flash protege right here. Seriously, 2 games at once. I bet even Flash hasn't done that before. TerranBoy, heroic. Now, if I was Cryoc, I'd be feeling a little bit silly right now. His opponent clearly not taking him seriously at all. He's playing 2 games at once. Alright, so we have an interesting position of this barracks, by the way. In fact, TerranBoy's whole building placement thing is actually, I quite like it. So basically, you know, this map, it's a 2-player map, and it's actually pretty common to proxy in your opponent's base, or just, you know, or proxy like at the 12 o'clock location here, like a starport or something, and then do really easy drops into the back of the main. So he's got this mainly to spot drops. Like proxying barracks in TBT doesn't really make that much sense. I guess you can do a BBS, but it doesn't make as much sense as like proxying gateways. So this I think is primarily just a spot for drops coming in. And then this barracks also helps to spot because, you know, it's also easy to drop over this little area. But more importantly, it's like a little bit closer to his opponent's base, and this barracks in TBT, usually once you've made a couple of Marines, Terran players will lift it off and use it for scouting. So that'll just get over to his opponent's base a little bit more quickly. I mean, it's you know, it's a matter of maybe 30 seconds, but still, that's pretty important. Or that can be pretty important in high levels of play. Cryoc, on the other hand, is just kind of building everything around his base. He didn't really care too much, which is it's fine. I mean, these are like small optimizations that aren't really game changing, but you know. The super mega Gosus often do things like this. Although interestingly, he's not building a second Marine, and he's also not lifting the barracks, which is confusing me a little bit. If he's not going to make another Marine, you should definitely just lift that off and go scout with it. TerranBoy has pulled guys off gas, by the way. Sorry, I think my mouse is like spazzing a little bit. I'll try not to freak out here. So there's only one guy on gas. There has been for a while actually. Noticed it earlier, just was talking about something else. So TerranBoy almost certainly going for the fast expand. Interestingly, Cryoc, despite not doing the fancy barracks placement that I was talking about, has actually gone into scout with his one first. He's also going for a pretty quick expansion. You can see he's pulled, he's actually got 2 guys still on the gas, but he has pulled 1. So he's getting his add-on now, and yes, there is the command center from him. I'm a little bit surprised that there's no command center yet from TerranBoy. Looks like he's delayed his by a little bit, even though he also pulled guys from gas. He really should be getting that soon. I mean, you can see he's saving up money for it. Expect that to be going up at some point. Looks like Cryoc's scouting SCV was killed, whereas TerranBoy's is kind of hidden his, kind of at the top here. Gonna go back to scout if he can. Not likely he's gonna get through here. And both players is gonna be a little bit defensive in their base, since they are both going for the fast expand. Although of course Cryoc's a little bit faster. It looks like Cryoc only made the 1 Marine, whereas TerranBoy made 2. So I guess that contributes to him getting the slightly faster command center. But I don't think this is going to be too much of an issue. So we do have the second factory for both players making a tank. Oh no, excuse me, he's not making a tank. Oh, that's weird. Why did he get the machine shop and then, this is interesting. Okay, so TerranBoy has decided instead of making a tank, he's actually just going to make pure vultures and perhaps go for some fancy vulture shenanigans here. Now this is quite interesting because this is a little bit risky not to get the initial tank. I mean, if Cryoc was doing anything aggressive, then especially because he went speed instead of mines, then I'm pretty sure TerranBoy would just die straight up. But the thing is, he must have seen that Cryoc was going for a fast expand, or at least gotten some indication. Maybe he just saw that there were guys pulled off gas or something. So he feels safe going for this, knowing that there isn't going to be any early aggression. And that's actually pretty smart. That's pretty good thinking. So, you know, he's like, alright, since Cryoc's fast expanding, I'm also going to fast expand, and I'm going to take a risk here and you know, try and get these Vulture upgrades and do some harassment, since I know he's not going to attack me. I don't need the defense anyway. Cryoc, on the other hand, is just playing by the book. He's like, alright, he's getting tanks, He's getting his armory. He's not doing anything tricky whatsoever. He's just playing a very standard TBT. Interestingly, Cryoc also just leaving his barracks here to spot any incoming units, whereas TerranBoy's floated his all the way over to go and see what's inside the Terran base. Of course, in the early stages of TBT, you basically have almost no anti-air. Like 1 or 2 Marines is the max anti-air that you get. But oh, look at this! A Vulture from Cryoc actually sneaks into the base of TerranBoy. Now he's gonna see that there's no siege tank. And there's already a 3rd factory where he's only got 2, so he might be a little bit suspicious, but it doesn't matter because there the Vultures are going through already. A nice little mini block there catches one of the Vultures, but 2 Vultures are in the base. They don't have mines, they just have speed, so it's just a matter of how many SCVs can they kill before they get removed from the base. I like this, targeting down the gas SCVs first. Gas, of course, the most crucial resource in TBT. So we're just going to delay that mining a little bit here and kill as many of these SCVs as possible. He's also crucially going to get a scout of a relatively quick starport from Cryoc as well. Starport after just the 2 factories. So killing a handful of SCVs, getting the full scout, and still not in terrible position. I do think, okay, yeah, he did get mines. I was going to say he's going to need some mines to help prevent any kind of crazy counterattack. And oh, laying a lot of mines out in the natural expansion. Is that in range? Ooh, not quite in range. However, there's still no detection. So Cryoc can't really move just yet. Meanwhile, his barracks is kind of lost in the back of the base. Oh, he's actually just going to A-move these mines. A little bit risky, but since, you know, tanks have the instant shot, unlike Dragoons, you can do it if you have enough tanks. So it looks like he's able to clear that up anyway. And the Croc's just, sorry, TerranBoy's just going to lay a few more mines here, just until he gets his own siege tanks up. You can see he's getting those now. You can't just stay on Vultures for that long. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. There is some kind of crazy mid-game you can do in TBT where you just mass speed Vultures with mines, and if you actually force your opponent to mass speed Vultures as well, because if he's just got a low number of tanks, you can just surround them with mines and kill him easily. So yeah, that does happen occasionally, but it's still fairly uncommon. Looks like this barrack's barely going to get away. I'm fairly sure it's going to burn down. Even if an SCV goes out right now, I don't think it'll be in time. So he's going to have to remake that. Slightly annoying, but if he's already got as many factories as he wants for now, it's not really going to hurt him too much. He can just build the barracks later on when he needs more factories. The first dropship is out. I'm curious where this is going to go. And what's going to be loaded up. Is it going to be like a 4 Goliath drop, 2 Goliaths and a tank or something like that? He hasn't made any Vultures yet, so it's not going to be a Vulture drop. Meanwhile, looks like a couple of mine hits going off here, but otherwise nothing too severe. Meanwhile, TerranBoy has decided to actually be aggressive here. I guess he's even though he's got an inferior force, he's trying to use the fact that he has these mines that are kind of keeping Cryoc pinned back to let himself just walk across the map here. Because normally this wouldn't be safe, except for the fact that he kind of knows from these mines that at best Cryoc is kind of moving up here to the top, and even then he's got a couple of Vultures spawning. So he knows that this is kind of the max area that Cryoc could have moved out to. And it looks like an SV actually did make it over here to repair this, so I was wrong about that. I don't know, I didn't actually see that SCV moving out. Just assumed that the barracks would die, but it looks like he actually did manage to save it, so that's quite nice. Now, in the meantime, this is interesting. So, Cryoc sees this attack coming. Looks like TerranBoy's going to try and abuse this little position here where he can siege up the natural. But, of course, this works a lot better against Prodosses and Zergs. In TBT, obviously, your opponent also has tanks, so he can range you just as easily. Whereas if Cryoc was Protoss and Zerg, he'd have absolutely no efficient way to deal with these tanks. But as you can see, he's just going to siege up his own tanks and take care of that pretty easily. So TerranBoy going to retreat. My concern is that if TerranBoy is overly aggressive here, and this dropship, where'd the dropship go? Oh my god, I hope I didn't miss a drop. Oh, whoa, we got 3 dropships already, wow, alright. I thought he would go in for some harassment, because of course, the best time to harass is actually when your opponent's like being really aggressive and attacking you with a big army. Because then you know his not only are his units away from home, but he's most likely paying attention to microing his attack, and you can oftentimes get a lot of free worker kills like that. So Starport just now being added by TerranBoy as well, but it's way later than Cryoc's here. I wonder what the upgrades are, by the way. I haven't really paid attention. It doesn't look like there's any upgrade yet for either player. Meanwhile, look at this. TerranBoy actually is taking a bit of a hidden base here. I mean, semi-hidden, I guess, base at the bottom right as his third. So instead of taking the close mineral only as his third, he's taking this gas base, which I think this is actually a much better idea. You know, basically, he's got sort of the map control already. He's keeping Cryoc pinned back by being aggressive. It's quite interesting because Cryoc really technically has the stronger army, I think. Or at least he should have, because he started tank production a lot sooner. But you know, TerranBoy somehow seems to be really keeping on the pressure. And as I was saying earlier, the gas is so much more important in TBT that I think that bottom right base is going to be way more useful for TerranBoy than this mineral only is going to be for Cryoc. Cryoc, meanwhile, is establishing a bit of space here at the top, laying some lines there. I really wish Qualifier would start using these dropships here. He's made 3 dropships really quickly and hasn't really done anything with it. I mean, again, you know, with TerranBoy having all his army out on the map, this really seems like a good time to attack. But it looks like he's just too afraid of these forces from TerranBoy. He's just playing super turtly. And I mean, maybe he's right, because even though he's being defensive, he's actually getting pushed back here, forced to cancel this 3rd command center because he was fighting low ground to high ground here. Really a terrible engagement there for Cryoc. Cryoc somehow seems to be falling apart a little bit. I don't know what he's doing actually. I mean, he's got 6 factories now, but his army seems tiny compared to TerranBoy. TerranBoy's got his own 5 factories of his own. He's got a starport of his own. Crucially, he's got this 3rd base up, so he can actually add a couple more factories now and start outproducing Cryoc. Cryoc looks like he's going to try and respond by going for some harassment finally. I mean, you know, TerranBoy is the one who's been attacking him all game long. He's just been defensive. This is going to be his first attack, basically, of the game. It's like finding a random turret at the 6 o'clock that was going to, you know, spot any dropship and maybe try and pick one off for free. But look at this. He has absolutely no idea that this space is down here. If he sent those vultures down... Oh! Wait a minute. Does he know? Does he know? No, he's sending only 1 vulture down there, but now that this vulture sees it, he can send all the rest of the vultures. These SCVs are going to be sitting ducks here. Oh my god, 5 more vultures are coming in. The SCVs are running, but I don't think they're going to be able to make it out. These vultures are going to get so many kills. Cryoc needs to micro them, though. He's not chasing them down. He really should have chased them. Oh man, he could have got so many more SCV kills. But he wasn't microing the vultures, so a missed opportunity there for Cryoc, but at least he will delay his opponent's 3rd base as well after having to cancel his, but still, you know, he can't kill the command center, so TerranBoy will be able to resume mining there fairly quickly once his units kind of poke up here. And Cryoc is still not going to have a 3rd. Looks like instead he's going out for a big drop now. This random vulture did kill this turret, so he can, it looks like, and he is going to drop that bottom right base, that bottom right 3rd here. A base for a base, an eye for an eye. Cryoc getting a little bit high on the money. It's not ideal. TerranBoy, on the other hand, actually keeping it pretty low. Oh, no, it looks like he changed direction. He went through the middle of the map. He's actually going towards the natural here. Is he just going to drop the back of the main? I think dropping the back of the main is ideal here. That's the best place to drop on match point. It's so annoying to get an entire army all the way back due to the structure of the map. But no, it looks like he's actually decided to drop outside the natural. Man, this is like the position you take when you're... when you know you're pushing across the map on foot, but to drop there is slightly curious to me. I don't think this is the best decision. He did get a bunch of SCV kills though, and he is also getting a pretty good engagement here against TerranBoy's units, because TerranBoy is actually not controlling this very well at all. Meanwhile, it looks like, oh no, the dropships actually fly back through Goliath Fire, losing I think 2 of those at least. Meanwhile, man, lots of stuff going on all over the map, forcing a lift on that command center, but again, this bottom right base is mining, although no gas mining just yet, and actually not that many SCVs, so I'm actually tempted to say that Cryoc mining on his main and natural might actually have a slightly better economy than TerranBoy right now, just because there's actually not that many SCVs here. TerranBoy, instead of running the SCVs from the natural to the 3rd, actually ran them to the main, so his main is completely oversaturated. Meanwhile, he actually hasn't used his starport at all, as far as I can tell. Really should be making some drops of his own, or maybe even a random Wraith, but although I guess there was a Goliath there already, so possibly not. Cryoc, meanwhile, looks like he's ready to go for some more Vulture harassment at the bottom right, although there are a couple of tanks there, so I don't think that's really going to get anywhere, unless he can get some like lucky shots, lucky mines off or something. In the meantime, what do we have going on? 3rd command center just being built at the natural there. Until he can move out and establish this. Notice that TerranBoy is still holding on to this high ground ridge, and oh, it looks like there are the dropships finally coming out for TerranBoy. Going to use those to clear out this position, and that's going to take care of that fairly easily for TerranBoy. However, oh man, what is this? A drop went down to the bottom right, it looks like, or was it just going in by ground? I did not see what happened, but it looks like despite finally clearing out his natural, TerranBoy is now going to lose this bottom right base, and I think that command center is going to fall as well with those 4 Goliaths there. So nice move by Cryoc. Cryoc, meanwhile, has actually snuck this 6 o'clock base, so since he couldn't take the 3rd at the mineral only over there, he's actually taking the 6 o'clock, which is going to be more useful for him, in fact, because it's got the gas, but there are a few units moving down there. It looks like TerranBoy might have seen it. No, he's pulling them back. I'm not sure why he pulled it back. It looked like he saw it for sure. Maybe he was just moving his army around, figuring out a way to take out this force or something. I don't know, but looks like TerranBoy going to retake a 3rd at this mineral only. So TerranBoy, who, you know, he was looking in a really solid position just a few minutes ago, and suddenly Cryoc now, with a 150 supply to 120 supply lead, you know, he's got his third base up. It doesn't look like he can actually defend this though, unless these units can actually make it back in time. No, he's actually not really controlling it. So these few units that were sent down to the bottom right are actually not going to come back and be able to do anything. But yeah, really intense TVT here. This is actually quite fun because, you know, sometimes TVTs can get a little bit turtly, a little bit, you know, just sitting around and macroing and splitting the map. But in this case, both players being really aggressive here. This is cool. I like this kind of TVT. And here we go, another drop on the high ground to clear out this ridge. Looks like that one was actually empty for some reason, but gonna be able to take it out either way. Interestingly, unsieged tanks actually have I think about the same DPS as siege tanks, if not a fraction higher. But obviously they don't have splash. But you know, if you only got a small number of tanks like that, the unsieged ones actually don't do too badly. So Cryoc now taking the mineral only. Did he save that command center? Yeah, he did actually save the command center from the 6 o'clock. Meanwhile, TerranBoy is taking the mineral only as well. And does he have a command center over here? He doesn't. So there's a 1 command center advantage for Cryoc, though he hasn't actually been able to land that anywhere yet. And looks like gonna land a couple units over here at the 12. I think he was hoping to be able to drop in the main, but got denied by that random turret. I do like that that TerranBoy seems to have been building these like at key locations on the map, these random turrets, because they really are helping him kind of make these drops more difficult for Cryoc. They're not really denying them completely by themselves, but obviously, you know, like here they force him to drop early instead of dropping the main. That sort of thing is actually really fun. Meanwhile, looks like TerranBoy moving out across the map now with a decent-sized army relative to you know, what's actually both players have in the game. It's interesting. There's actually no giant, you know, tank line or huge army anywhere here. It's been a lot of very mobile engagements, which is not something you see very often in TVT. But that's my favorite kind of TVT, with a lot of dropship play and a lot of action. Meanwhile, looks like TerranBoy trying to reestablish the space at the bottom right. And Cryoc moving over to this high ground platform between his 3rd and his 4th. These platforms are generally very key on this map. Whoever controls these is in pretty good shape. Or rather, it's very important to control your own, because obviously if you don't, then we get a situation like we had before where your opponent can start attacking your mineral on your high ground. Hey, looks like we're going to have an engagement here. I think both players can just kind of pull back a little bit since they're both kind of sieged up. It looks like Cryoc has a superior force, but again, even if you have even a 2-to-1 advantage in unit numbers, moving against the siege tank line is not a good idea. But look at this, simultaneously Cryoc going into the main base as well, as some tanks siege on the outside while the rest of them go in. And this is going to be really effective here. TerranBoy trying to pull his units back in time, but I don't know if they're going to be in time. There's already 1 tank siege up here. The factories are under attack. Meanwhile, though, a counter drop by TerranBoy at the 3rd base here. So he's kind of hoping that these units in the main will be enough. He's pulled his SCVs as well. Is it going to be enough? It looks like with these few siege tanks, it might just be enough here. TerranBoy with the slightly better upgrades, the 1-1 upgrades against the 1-0. And with those reinforcements, it looks like he will be able to clean out this base. On the other side of the map, this drop by TerranBoy, how much damage is it going to do? I think it will at least force a lift from the command center. The tanks now will probably be out of range of each other. So, you know, they won't kill each other, but this command center will certainly not be able to team mining. Looks like, yep, they're the final units going. Actually, the command center dies. The command center falls here. Cryoc was not paying attention. He didn't lift it. He does have another one that I think flew all the way over here from the 6 o'clock. But that's having to fly all the way over to the top left. And ooh, looks like a big tank line at the top is going to help finally clear this out. And while this has all been going on, TerranBoy has got this bottom right base up. He's going to transfer a few SCVs over there as well. So he's still actually going to be in a better economic position. This command center, by the way, looks 1 hex off to me. I think it can be like here, maybe? Alright, it looks slightly off, but I'm not 100% sure, because sometimes these mineral onlys, they look a little bit weird anyway, but I'm fairly certain that's a little bit far away. In the meantime, looks like Cryoc tried to check if anything was here at the 6 o'clock, wasn't able to get in. I think he got in far enough to see that there's no command center, and that's really all he cares about. Although, he should have enough comsats to really check everything anyway. The funny thing about TBT is, you know, unless one person's going cloak wraiths, you don't need to save your comsat for detecting cloak units like you do in, you know, TVP, where you need to detect the units cloaked by arbiters, or in a TVZ where you want to scan for lurkers and that kind of thing. In TVT, you have like a lot of command centers and a lot of scans to use, and no real cloaked units to worry about. So, you know, in this situation, you can just scan all over the place. And I remember Day9 actually in one of his early dailies talking about TVT was saying, you know, in late game TVT, both players might as well just give each other vision because, holy balls, that's a lot of tanks. Because they just have so many comms sets anyway that they can see anything they want to. So, you know, just vision your opponent. It's about the same. Anyway, it looks like we have another attack here from the high ground. TerranBoy really abusing this position, and it's actually really working for him. He's going to grab 1 more units here for free, although it looks like a drop on top of his units is going to try and save this, but he didn't. I don't think Cryoc actually dropped enough here. I think Cryoc might still lose it, although it's going to be close. It looks like no. Wow. Somehow actually cleaned that up. I thought it would be a little bit closer than that, although I guess he did only come out with 3 units. Meanwhile, TerranBoy going for a drop once again. Both players now with both their 4 bases on their side of the map, I think. So economy has kind of equalized. The supply is also very close. Only a 10 supply advantage now for TerranBoy, and neither player has really established too much position on the map, although it looks like TerranBoy is actually thinking about taking the 6 o'clock, which is an interesting choice. You know, normally he would take this 12 o'clock as his next base, but he's actually going for the 6, which is quite curious. It's going to be a little bit harder for him to defend, I think, than the 12, but if he can actually start mining that out, it'd probably be good for him in the long run, because of course Cryoc then will have a difficult time taking his next base. Meanwhile, both players going to slightly contest this area at the top. I'm a little bit surprised. Oh, I was just going to say, a little bit surprised neither of them got +2 yet, but in fact, Cryoc does. So Cryoc now with the upgrade advantage to attack against 1-1 here. Now, that upgrade is the most crucial one in TVT because having +2 attack on your siege tanks allows them, when they're in siege mode, to 2-shot your opponent's tanks, whereas +1 or +0 still requires 3 shots. So Cryoc now definitely will have an advantage in tank-on-tank engagements. But given how active these players are being with dropships and unsieged tanks, I'm not sure if that's going to make a huge difference here. It's generally more important when you have like the big tank line battles and players kind of shuffling forward with their tanks and trying to get those first shots off. Anyway, what do we have going on here? No crazy tech switches, right? No wraiths, no battle cruisers. All right, good. Don't want to be taken too much by surprise, even though that is quite exciting. Of course, in late game TVT, battle cruisers are in fact a pretty legitimate choice if you have a decent economy, but I don't think either of these players really has the economy to support it just yet. And it looks like we might have another big battle here in the middle of the map. Both players are moving out. There's a preemptive drop by Cryoc, or sorry, by TerranBoy. Man, I'm getting these guys confused. But oh, it looks like Cryoc gonna lose a couple of free units here. No, just a single glide. That was good reaction time by him, pulling it back. He should really unload these units though. Okay, there we go. There's a moving unload. And yeah, so both players actually essentially even in supply. In fact, almost dead even. 123 to 125. Even bases, both got their 4 bases. TerranBoy does have this command center. He hasn't floated it out yet. If he can, you know, build a few more turrets here and set up a position, that would be really nice for him. But otherwise, this is a really dead even game. Man, this is pretty cool. So it looks like though, TerranBoy has added a couple more factories, or added a couple more machine shops as well. So he's gone up to 7 factories against Cryoc's 6, but again, not too big of a difference there. Meanwhile, Cryoc finally going to clear out this this high ground platform, and it looks like he's going for another drop. Although he did forget to load up 2 of his dropships. That's not really good. I don't think that's intentional. And that scan, I'm pretty sure was TerranBoy. So really nice scan there, seeing the position of his opponent's army, although I'm not sure what he's going to do about it. Here we go. Here's a drop into the main base. There's a lot of turrets, though. He's going to lose a lot of his dropships. And there we go. 3 dropships getting taken down by the turrets already, so that's very expensive. But he does have the tanks in position now, and he's cleared out the turrets so he can ferry in the rest of his units, whereas TerranBoy's army is trying to shuffle back. Notice, oh man, he even built a depot here, so he's got like a really narrow choke point there to walk back into his own main here. Man, a lot of devastation going on to the main base. The starport being lifted, factory being lifted, and you can see how annoying this is on this map. Matchpoint is known for having this, just having drops in the main being so obnoxious in basically every matchup here. It's really annoying to deal with this kind of thing, and it's just so easy to do. So Cryoc is able to do a lot of heavy damage here for relatively little cost. In the meantime, though, TerranBoy has actually taken the 6 o'clock finally, so if he can kind of hold this off for now and start mining from that, he will have an economic lead over his opponent. But man, he's taking a lot of damage here, and you can see, you know, with all the tanks siege up, it's really hard for TerranBoy to actually poke up here, especially with the, oh man, +3 attack now against still 1-1 from TerranBoy. Did TerranBoy just not build a science facility? Is that what's going on here? Oh my god, I don't see a science facility in the base, so maybe TerranBoy just cannot upgrade anymore. You need a science facility to get +2. And that's actually a pretty critical mistake, I think. He really should have had +2 at this point. He's also floating a billion minerals, although in TVT that's not too uncommon actually to just be floating minerals, just because you're only focusing on spending your gas. In the meantime, Looks like Cryoc is actually abusing his position here, ferrying in more units. He's actually taking down all of these depots here. Gonna start supply blocking TerranBoy in a little bit, and TerranBoy, despite having taken the 6 o'clock position, isn't really mining from it. Focused way too much on defending his main. And look at this, Cryoc now is the one taking the 12 o'clock here, so a bit of reverse expansions from both players, but Cryoc now sending a big force down to the 6 o'clock as well. TerranBoy seems to be falling apart a little bit. I don't know where his army is or what he's doing. He's got a lot of idle SCVs. He still can't carry out his main. He's just doing a mass exodus from the main base here. He's decided he cannot dislodge this position. It's just too good. And GG from TerranBoy as he sees the army bearing down on his 6 o'clock position. And Cryoc takes the game here in the round of 64. This is just a best of 1. So Cryoc will move on to the round of 32 over TerranBoy. Wow, that was a really exciting TVT actually. I am pleasantly surprised. Alright. Now see, I was so excited I didn't even drink my tea. Alright, cool. So, we will go to a quick commercial break, and then I'll be back with some more games. Don't go anywhere, guys.